Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nitty Gritty to Balance podcast. I'm your host, Abigail, and joining us each episode is my mom, Stacy, a holistic health coach and intuitive. Each week, we discuss topics through the lens of her work and subspecialties to bring to light the balance in the everyday. So, with that, let's bring in the brains behind the balance and get this episode started. Welcome to today's episode, everyone. Today is a little impromptu.
Very impromptu, I would say.
We switched it up last minute, which we do quite often, but
Not this last minute.
not this last minute. And I think today coming into the space to record, I think you were feeding off of my energy. I was feeding off of your energy, and we just realized maybe today just needs to be something different. We had planned for something for today's episode to be something different, and it just doesn't feel like the right day to record that episode.
Well, that one's going to be pretty heavy.
Yes.
And it's structured quite differently than what we've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you open up the door when I arrive and comment on why my outfit, and then immediately say that you're just a little off today.
Yes.
And so I was thinking, okay, well, this is not the podcast to be off today.
Right.
So let's
Yeah.
do it different then.
Yeah. And I love that we give ourselves this freedom and this flexibility to do that,
Nice, yeah.
because our episodes they're not meant to be strict or to be, they're very moldable. They're very malleable. Our episodes, they change and they fluctuate a lot as we're preparing for.
Which is also what happened.
Yeah.
I had the podcast for today
Lined up.
mostly completed
Yes.
by the end of the week, and we had gone over it and was like, okay, this is it. We're going to do this. It's very different, but excited to do kind of something a little different. And then I woke up in the middle of the night.
Okay, I was wanting to know what happened.
And thought, oh, I totally missed this aspect of what we were trying to put together, and had to completely rewrite it, reformat it, and come at it a little bit differently.
Right.
But it had to be a completely new podcast.
Yeah.
And so I got up this morning, completely redid this podcast, texted you and said, hey, darling.
Per my fashion.
Yes, that was in there in the text. Totally changed the podcast. Take a look at it. See what you think. Let me know.
Yeah.
And then I get here and it continued to change, which is just wonderful.
Part of it. It is wonderful. And yeah, I think it kind of gives us some breathing room, or that sense of freedom. Like, okay, we don't have to tie ourselves down to a topic that we said we were going to record, but if it just doesn't happen to be the right day, that's okay. And we allow it to be that. And this isn't the first time that this has happened either. I mean, we've switched episode topics,
script or outlines.
Yes.
And
very often.
Yeah, it happens a bit regular.
But in two, if, again, we like to kind of sit with how we're feeling and what feels right, or what we thought would feel right, but just ends up not being it. We sit with those feelings and we decide, okay, really today is not the right day for this episode. And because we find it to be an important episode, we want to make sure that the content is right, or the energy is right, so that we can bring the message to you properly.
Yeah, we want the full depth of that idea to reach our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that podcast is going to be a very unique podcast. So
it is.
We're excited to bring it to the audience, but it needs to be right.
Yeah, it needs to simmer with our energy a little bit longer before we bring it to life, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible that it might change a little more.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But today's episode is about self-love, self-care, and imperfections, about all of the days in between, or all of the moments in between. Like, I almost want this episode to be called The In-Between.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of what sparked, because when I said, all right, we don't have to do that original podcast for today, you looked at me and you were like, then what are we going to talk about? And I said, you know what? Let's just be raw and real.
Yeah.
And have a real chit chat.
Yeah.
And let's talk about all the in-between lines of what our listeners don't necessarily get in our life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to listen to a podcast episode and hear the simplicity of what's going on in somebody's life, or
Mm-hmm.
how something evolved, but there's all this in-between space.
Yeah.
Of how it really happened,
Mm-hmm.
and how it wasn't necessarily easy or flowy or any of that.
Right.
And that's a bit what we want to talk about today, is just the nitty gritty of kind of our daily life.
Mm-hmm. Some wins, some struggles. But, and I think of it too, kind of like, your friend comes to you with a problem and they're asking for your advice, and you can lay out beautifully, here's the answer, here's what you should do. Maybe look at it from this perspective. As a friend, you're able to give this sound advice, comfort your friend. But it's almost like we have to be able to do that for ourselves too. And today's episode is kind of an inside look to what that is for us, I believe.
That's interesting too, because I'm going to point out here that oftentimes, yes, somebody comes to us with an issue or something they're struggling with, and we are just so quick, and not we, but people,
Mm-hmm.
friends, loved ones are just so quick to offer advice. Oh, this is what I see. This is what you should do. And you know what? Maybe that's not it. Maybe you just need to sit in that space with them and listen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And that's all they need. Maybe they don't need advice.
Right.
And beautifully, what you were saying, that could go to us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we don't have to fix the immediate issue that we're having. Maybe all we need to do is just sit with ourselves in it.
Yeah.
And allow that space and that grace and that feeling to just be.
I do like that too.
Yeah, we don't do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just humanity, people, individuals.
Yeah. I like how you pointed that out too, because yes, we are so quick to jump to, oh, this needs fixing. Oh, we have to address this. Oh, here's what you should do. If I were you, this is what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
We do jump to that problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
But not everything has to be a problem. And I think we do paint a lot of things as issues or as problems.
Definitely. Yeah, I see where you're going with that, and I would agree with that. And not necessarily to run off tangent of what you're saying, but kind of parallel with that is also, if we are quick to try and remedy or fix or offer solutions, and we're not just sitting and just being in that, then are we in a way bypassing that feeling, that emotion, and just that being in it and feeling the uncomfortable, the sad, the guilt, whatever it is. If we're just on to the solution, the next step, then it's like that bridge, and you've just left this water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say? It's you're not addressing what's there.
It does. And I think that is absolutely where I was trying to go with that too.
Okay.
Was that, if we're just jumping to the solution, we have these feelings. They come up however which way. And for some reason, we're immediately looking at how to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this. It's uncomfortable. So what is the step that I need to take to get out of this? Because I don't want to be here. Yeah, you are running away from those feelings.
Yeah.
But you feel productive in doing that because you found a solution.
Sure. Right.
It is very interesting.
Yeah.
But you, like you said, you did just bypass what in that moment was maybe trying to teach you or trying to get your attention about something.
Yeah.
You are tripping over that for a second, but it's an issue. So we need to figure out how to get out of that rather than sit in the feeling and understand what this is.
Yeah. Yeah, because that forward thinking of the solution is really just stuffing that away. It's
which we talked about in our most recent recording. The more you just push away thoughts and emotions and feelings, that doesn't mean they're gone. They're still there. And you're just covering them up. And today goes by, tomorrow goes by, the next day goes by, a week, a month, all this time goes by. Those feelings are still there. They're still unresolved. You've pushed them out of your forefront of thinking, so you think they're gone. But that's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's not. You can't just tell yourself that these feelings shouldn't be felt and therefore they need to go away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's understanding maybe where that root came from. Why did it stir up an emotion? And just sitting and contemplating and looking back. And if I may, it just flooded in is kind of our conversation that we just had on Friday.
Yeah, I was thinking
and
that
not
too.
that any details have to come out, but we were talking about something that had sparked in you from somebody else. And I said, Abigail, it is not, they didn't make you feel this way. You felt this way because of something in your past triggered this. And that's where you go and figure out it's not for this person that triggered this. It's not them to solve this or something that they have to change. You've got to understand in yourself, why did this get triggered? Where did it come from? And that's where you're going to put your focus, where it came from.
Right. And yeah, that may have popped into your head because it had simultaneously popped into mine too. Because yes, I mean, yeah, we are kind of going, slightly down the trail of pretty much what we talked about earlier this week.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, yeah, I'll have these conversations with you and you'll help me kind of, take a different perspective on them and how to work through them. And then, at the end of it, it makes me laugh because as long as I feel like I've been, practicing my intuition, not very long, but, consistently now, and I feel like, yeah, I'm getting the hang of this. This is feeling good. I have a win here or I struggled here, but I saw this and, I was able to work through it. I'm still such a baby when it comes to these things. And it's so fun to be able to talk to you and you're able to kind of lay out clearly, like, I see how you're feeling this. And we do get so trapped in the short-term view of things, which is what I was stuck in. I was stuck in that short-term, like, this person did this, so I have feelings towards this person. But that's not what it is. Unfortunately, this person sparked these feelings up again, but they came from someone or somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so it's my job and my duty, my responsibility for myself to dig back and do some investigation on where that originally came from. Because I've been walking on this earth for 26 years. This can't be the first time that this feeling has come up for me.
Very good point.
But
absolutely. Yeah.
It's the most recent one, so my brain has to think, this
person did it.
This person is the issue for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This person, That's so interesting.
And that's the trap of putting the blame and the responsibility on this outside source.
Yeah.
But with what we're touching on here, if you say, oh, wait, no, that was the trigger, the source is within me, and now I've got to go back and figure out what that is. And that's what I process. Because I don't want to say fix.
Right.
There may not be anything to fix. It's just I've got to now process that and figure out what is this deep emotion, and how do I start resolving that and figuring that out. And once you do that, once you start doing that work, now the relationship with this person that just triggered it starts to change.
Yeah, and at the same time, I owe that to myself.
Definitely.
I owe myself that time to go backwards and sit with myself and reflect and think and, like I said, do some investigation. I owe that to myself and my inner child, if that's where it takes me. I owe that to myself. And I think, of course, for our listeners too, you owe that to yourself. Definitely. Allow that for yourself. Because then again, I feel like a lot of people don't allow that. They don't allow that emotional freedom in a way.
Yeah, people just don't know how to do it.
It is tricky.
It is.
Again, we can give our friend all the advice. We can sit in front of our friend and tell them this is what you should do all day long. You have a clear idea, a clear vision, a clear path on how to work through something. Yet when it's with yourself, it's so difficult to see. It's so difficult to navigate.
And it's, you start running kind of the internal dialogue of just get over it. It's not a big deal. Why are you hanging on that, or whatever that dialogue is? But there is that reason. And just like that day that we were in your kitchen talking, I was like, Abigail, I don't have the answers for you.
Right.
I don't know what it is, what triggered this. You could look here, maybe here, but you have to go do the work.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just offer you where to take yourself back to and kind of how to maybe navigate that a little bit, but you have to absolutely make the time, take the time, and start doing the research internally.
Yeah.
And so, have you given that more thought? What is your plan there?
Yeah. I don't give myself as much time as I should or as much time as I want to, but yeah, it's definitely something that I've been mulling over since we talked on Friday.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you've gotten any bits of clarity, or it's just I'm going to have to sit down and really
I think there's still
do some work?
Yeah, I think there's still time because I've been doing, I mean, we've talked about TBM in previous episodes, to be magnetic. And so I've been doing some of their DI, some inner child ones, not specifically inner child, but some DIs that tie in your inner child. And every time I do those DIs, I think about when the cousins and us and my sister, we would go outside and we would make sand with big rocks. We would just like grind up rocks to make sand. The most random thing ever. But anytime I'm in a childhood DI, that's where my brain goes, to making sand. And it was just this, all of us were just so invested in making this sand, and we had Tupperware dishes outside, and we would sit out there all day and make sand.
Well, I would suggest this is what you need to do. You need to go where there's sand.
That's
and
interesting.
You need to just get your hands and toes and play and just be in self-thought and reflection.
That's so interesting.
And let the sand start speaking to you.
Wow. That's so funny because yes, when I'm in these DIs and I'm like looking at my fingers and they are just dusty, and that's so funny. Our feet are in the dirt. I mean, we are just in the sand.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very grounding. and probably soothing. I mean,
Yeah.
sand is cooling and it's soothing and
Yeah.
it's but also it sounds like you guys are physically kind of working because you're making this dirt and sand from rocks.
Yeah.
So it's also a very kind of physical activity,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. So, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that is your subconscious saying that this is what may help
Mm-hmm.
to kind of flood back some memories
Yeah.
for you and help you process. You know, you'll be kind of in a grounding
Mm-hmm.
environment with the sand, connecting to the earth,
Yeah.
barefoot more than likely if
Mm-hmm.
you're on a beach.
Yeah.
You know, and water is emotional.
Yeah.
You know, and that's maybe it.
Yeah.
That's
Very
beautiful.
interesting.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. I need to talk to you about my DIs more because, yeah, you help me dissect them more than I can for myself. But yeah, I mean, and I can even like feel the subtle breeze outside or the smell of the trees still. And it's just, I mean, and this childhood memory is from our property looked so different. I mean, in this childhood memory, we were outside playing in the dirt where our house now sits. Like that place, that space is not really there anymore.
Right.
Yet it is because then we lived on that portion of land for so many years and you still do. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still have a hard time finding. I don't want to say finding. I have a hard time making the time to, yeah, give myself that time to do that introspection, to do that investigation. But it is kind of always in the back of my mind. I am always, thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be important to really dedicate some time to that because it was a pretty deep trigger for you.
Yeah.
And so it's something that would be very beneficial to really dig into and find the root of that to start processing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I owe that to myself.
Right. And so we could just easily move on into, the self-care portion of that or self-love. And let's kind of define what those two mean.
I agree. Let's define first, let's talk about self-love. So I'll have you define what it means for us and to our listeners.
Self-love is really the ways that you're going to love yourself. And so we just briefly touched on this, before we started recording, and that's really our internal dialogue. It's how we speak to ourselves and how loving and caring we can be and giving ourselves grace.
Yeah, your internal voice, your internal dialogue. And I always think about, if you drop some food on the floor, what is your initial reaction? Are you like, of course I dropped that, or oh my gosh, that's okay, let me clean that up really quickly? What is your self-talk? What is your initial reaction to something that you did? You're the only one in the room, so you're the only one to talk to or to blame in that situation. But what is your internal dialogue or that internal conversation like? Are you shaming yourself? Are you down on yourself? Do you have pity for yourself? Are you like, it's no big deal? Or, yeah, anything that, initially just pops through your mind?
Yeah, right. How do you just initially respond to yourself? And that will show you a lot in self-love.
Yeah.
Or lack of, which I think a lot of people have the lack of. We haven't really been taught to be kind to ourselves and to love ourselves, and the self-talk is huge.
Yeah.
And really kind of a quick story, I had to absolutely learn this for myself with growing up with my father, who was very mentally and verbally abusive to us children. And it sunk in deep.
Right.
And all through my childhood, young adult, later in life, that's what was playing in my head.
Right.
Stacy, you're so stupid. Why did you do that? He had some other really not nice things to say that I won't say on the podcast, but those were the things that continually repeated through my head daily, every day. That was the conversation.
Yeah.
I was stupid.
Yeah.
And I lived by that for the longest time until I realized, one, would I speak to myself that way if he was not in my life, if I was brought up totally different? Is that what I would choose to speak to me, especially as a young kid?
Right.
Absolutely not. So then why am I choosing to let that run and play in my head? Why am I not changing that? And that shifted so much for me.
Yeah.
Physically and then mentally.
Yeah.
And, or the other way around, mentally and then physically, things started to change for me.
Yeah.
And now when things happen, it's like, okay, Stacy, come on, we can do this differently or whatever. But more times than not, I tell myself, good job, Stacy. You've got this. Whatever it is, I speak to myself and positively most of the time. And if it's something that didn't go quite right or whatever, then it's not that I'm negative.
Right.
It's just that I'm, okay, we got to do this different.
Yeah.
We can't repeat this or whatever.
Yeah. It's okay that it happened this way, but next time we can try this or we can do this.
Yeah.
And, and then it's funny that you say that too, because in our house growing up, stupid was a bad word. Shut up was a bad word. There were these words and phrases that we didn't say in our house. Yeah. And, that just shows from your childhood how you were given a different example or you were given a different, idea of what adults and parents do and say to children or their children. You said, no, we don't do that. We're not going to do that. And as an adult, these words are silly, but they land differently when you're growing up. My husband right now is reading a book about like human nature, and he just recently went through a chapter about childhood and how when we are children, we are the most connected to our authenticity. Yeah. And he was sharing some of this chapter with me, and it was so fun because this is a lot of, what a lot of people know kind of just in the spiritual world. Your inner child is where really everything comes from. And so he's saying, childhood this, authenticity that. And I said, yes, you are right. But it's also our most impressionable years of our life, which is where we pick up some of the most pain and programming. And shame in our everyday lives is from these most impressionable years of our lives. And we're so little, we don't have any control or capacity of what's going on. But that shapes us for the rest of our lives.
Certainly does.
And so it is so easy as adults who are programmed in these ways to go about their life kind of on autopilot with this inner dialogue that they've had since they were 8, 9 years old.
From somebody else.
It's not even their own
choice
being.
of how they would speak to themselves.
Yeah.
Until you stop and ask yourself, would I, just knowing me, would I speak to myself this way? No.
Yeah. And being a mom to a very young daughter, I would not speak to her this way. So why would I speak to myself this way? I have an everyday example of who I'm talking to and communicating to, and oftentimes I see her and I look at her and I just think about that inner child that still lives within me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to speak the same way to her as I do to my daughter. And children are such wonderful reflectors too. We were talking about that not that long ago either, that they don't know much, if anything at all, about how to go through this world, right? We are teaching them everything. We are helping them through everything. Mm-hmm. And so all they can do is reflect back to you, your energy or your thoughts and your beliefs, your mood. Yes, all they can do is reflect that back onto you.
Yeah, because they have no comparison. They have nothing outside of their immediate presence.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all they know.
Yeah. They don't live in the past. They don't live in the future. They don't live in the fear of tomorrow or
in the 5 minutes from now.
Yeah.
It is, the present. So, they are just complete, honest mirrors.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yesterday, my sister was over at the house and my daughter, we were all playing, having fun. She ends up falling off of the bed. She was
Which
fine.
one, your sister or the baby?
The baby. And she was fine. She landed right next to me, but it certainly scared her. Mm-hmm. And so she was shaken up. She was scared. And I pick her up and she's got tears rolling down her cheeks. I ask if she would like some water to try to calm down. And she says, yeah. So my sister grabs her water and hands it to her. And she's just crying and grabbing the cup. And then she goes, no. And she hands it back. She decided, you know what? Water is not what I need right now. And so my sister says, okay, do you want me to drink it? And she pretends like she's drinking it. And my daughter just busts out laughing. The tears go away. She's laughing. Her aunt is so funny. And then she starts crying again. And this happened probably 3 or 4 times. She would laugh because it was funny. She was distracted for a moment. And then right back to, oh, actually, I'm scared. You know, it was this back and forth of emotions for a minute there. And she was just in real time feeling her feelings. 1 second she's scared, the next second she's laughing. You know, she's kind of pointing out where she may have bonked her head. And yeah, it is just interesting to see in that exact moment her and her little body and her little mind going through these feelings and these emotions.
Yeah.
And then the next second, nothing happened and she's running around back to playing and having fun and everything's fine.
Yeah, and you gave her that space to just kind of move through, thinking she's fine, getting distracted out of it, but then realizing, oh no, maybe this feeling is still there. And so she picks back up crying again. And, she's 1.5 years. Yes. So it's just
a little whirlwind of emotions every once in a while.
Right. And we talk about often how interesting it is that they are programmed and
how easily they are programmed.
How easily it is to program them.
Yes.
And so it's, since we've been talking about this more, we've been kind of more aware of, are we doing this to her?
Right.
And in a way, I guess it's just kind of I don't want to say an experiment, but it's something that we're
very cognizant of.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of our either initial thoughts or initially we want to say this or, however we want to handle a given moment. For me, I know, and then for you as well, I believe, you're catching yourself. Sometimes she's doing something, maybe she's, about to spill food on the floor or water on the floor. And sometimes I'll say, if you spill that or if you make this mess, mommy will be upset. And then I have to stop and think, okay, well, I just completely handed her my emotions about this situation. And that's not what I should be doing. She does not need to carry my emotions. So she makes a mess. I can't hand over my emotions of upset to her, and now she has to deal with that.
Wow.
And so even, these words will come out of my mouth, and I'll immediately catch myself, oh, that's not what we need to say. We need to really pay attention to when I'm passing my emotions off to someone else.
That's very insightful, Abigail. And I really hadn't looked at something at that perspective. And that's very, very insightful. So now, kind of going back to originally what we were talking about a little bit before, is when you catch yourself doing that, how's that self-love talk?
Right. Trying not to criticize myself.
Okay, are you successful in that? Are you like, okay, caught myself.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try not to say that like that next time.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm working myself out of this self-critical hole. And I find it easiest to catch my patterns or to catch some habits when I'm talking to my daughter. Again, like I said, I'm speaking to her and also telling myself, this is how I need to be speaking to myself, to my inner child, even my adult self. I deserve this patience and love and understanding.
Grace. I love that word.
Yeah. I don't have to be talking to my inner child. I can talk to myself at the age that I am, but I can still do it with love and appreciation and patience, grace, all of those things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't try to criticize myself of, oh, why did I say it like that? Oh, I always say it that way. And I don't like that about myself. I don't try to criticize myself when this comes up. I just acknowledge it. These things do come out very absent of thought. They are just reactions. But it's, for some reason, easy for me to catch when it comes out on her. And so then it makes me think, okay, where am I doing this to other people?
Right.
Because if I don't want to treat her this way, I don't want to treat anyone this way. And yeah, I mean, being a parent it really pushes you. It really does.
It can if you tune in.
Yes. And I mean, you and I have talked about this for so long. It's so exciting that she's here now and we get to be such intentional parents and grandparents in raising her, in the spirituality that we know and love so much.
Yeah.
It's so exciting to think about when she's older and just the beautiful human I know she's going to be.
Yeah, I'm excited to really teach her authentic self, that she gets to just choose her.
Yeah.
Every moment, and not in a selfish, egoic way.
Right.
In her authentic way.
Yeah.
In her creativity and her thoughts. And I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And there's one piece that I just don't want us to forget in this realm of what we're talking about.
Just really quickly, I want her to live in her truth. And I want that to be the go-to, the default for her, is to live in her truth and love from her truth. And yeah, that's my hope and that's my goal for her.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think she's on a great path to be able to do that.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too, because she's a projector in the human design, and doing some light research on other projectors, they do very well on their own. They do very well entertaining themselves. And that is how she has always been.
She is, yeah. She's pretty independent in her play and creativity.
And it just, my heart just wants to explode any chance I get to just witness her just in her own world. I mean, yes, she's only a year and a half, but her mind is it's so beautiful. Just the things that she does and the activities that she finds for herself. Oh man.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. She's a beautiful little being.
It's so neat.
Yeah. So the other thing that I really wanted to touch on before we moved on to something else was again, the programming.
Mm-hmm.
When she does hurt herself, and we've talked about
Yeah.
this, and I try to definitely catch myself when I'm with her because I watch her 2 days out of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And that when she falls or if something happens, I don't insert how she needs to handle it.
Right.
You know, if she falls down, I don't tell her, "Oh, you're fine, get up."
Mm-hmm.
And I love what, because we talked about this, and I love what you said you do to her is you respond by saying, "Oh, I see you."
Mm-hmm.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah.
And so I've kind of started, if it fits, I'll say that, "Oh, I see you," or
Mm-hmm.
I'll respond some way that allows her to choose how she's feeling, how she's going to get over it. Now, I do try to, sidetrack her if we need to.
And I think that's the whole point of it. Yes, I'll often say, I see you, or something will happen, and she will look at me because she's looking to me for guidance on
Mm-hmm.
how she should feel.
Right.
And I'll tell her, Mommy saw that. And then I'll ask, Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
I will try to have her, think and analyze what just happened, what's going on. Does she need more from Mommy, or is she actually okay?
Mm-hmm.
And same for you. Does she need more from Gracie, or is she okay?
Yeah.
And yeah, if she bonked something and she does need a hug or wants some love, she knows she can immediately come to you or
Mm-hmm.
come to me, and she'll receive that and she'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
The other morning, I cannot recall what exactly happened, but she hurt herself, and it was very minimal. It wasn't anything crazy, but of course she's crying and she's looking to me, and I didn't say anything. I just crouched down with my arms out. She walks up to me and she wraps her arms around me and hugs me, and she's, crying a little bit. She steps away from our hug and she goes, and she walks on. That is just what she needed in that moment. And it was so beautiful. I didn't have to say anything.
Right.
She knew that I saw her. I was there for her, and I just slowly crouched down for her. She came and got the hug, the contact with Mom that she needed, that quick nervous system regulation, and then she was good. And she just turned around and went about her thing.
It's such a beautiful story, and it is bringing me full circle to the beginning of our conversation. And what if we did that to the person that is needing that? We say nothing.
Yeah.
We open our arms.
Mm-hmm.
We let them come in, and we just hug them and let them be
Yes.
present
Mm-hmm.
in that and go through whatever they need to go through. Let them breathe it out.
Sigh.
That's what they needed. That was the processing. That was the remedy
Yeah.
that they needed.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't we just do that more for people?
Yeah. Well, and you know what's funny too, because on social media, there's so much about the masculine and the feminine, right? And we had kind of chatted about this so briefly before we started this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this scenario that's often laughed about, but it is true. A woman comes home from her day of work and she's gossiping to her husband about everything that happened at work. This person's so annoying, then this girl did this, and this person said that. And the husband jumps into problem solving mode and he wants to fix and he wants to solve, and oh, well, you should just do this. Oh, well, that doesn't matter. Why are you hung up on that? And the woman's left feeling just that she got nothing out of that interaction. Because all the woman wanted was to be heard in that moment. Nothing needed fixing. She just wanted to spill her emotions out, be heard, hugged, let out that sigh, and go on about her evening. That is the masculine and the feminine. Trying to fix and solve is the masculine, and the allowance of just being and embrace and just thoughtfulness is the feminine.
Yes, and I see it flip too. If the man comes home and he's got to get all of this off of his chest of his hard day too, then it would be the feminine's nurturing role to open her arms.
Right.
Allow him to come in and just hug it out and not have a response of,
here's what you should do.
Trying to also
Yeah.
make a solution for it.
Yeah.
Because,
exactly.
the women do it also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, yes, I think to what you're trying to say is let's start hearing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just be there, listen, hear, hug it out if we need to.
Yeah.
Or validate. Wow, I hear all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that was stressful.
You sound maybe a little frustrated. Do you want to go for a bike ride?
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's switch it up.
Yeah. Do you need me to run the bath for you?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, just nurturing. And again, why can't we do this for ourselves?
Beautiful point. Yes, my brain hadn't gone to that. Yeah, right. And then we can talk to ourselves about our day and the stresses and experiences we had and okay, yeah, what do we want to do about that? Do we want to eat a nourishing meal? Do we need to just go to bed early tonight? How do I need to self-love, speak to myself, ask myself, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
And then follow through with the self-care of the doing.
Yeah. Perfect segue.
Oh.
Let's talk about self-care. And so we kind of defined self-care before the episode started as the actions that you do for yourself. So it's going to be more of the tangible doing. And I think self-care should be and has to be sprinkled in every day.
All of it. Yeah. The self-love, self-care. Definitely.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, we can, for me personally, because I'm an esthetician, so self-care immediately goes to washing my makeup off, fully taking all of my makeup off, not just washing my face, but also taking off mascara or any lashes that I have on that day, kind of washing the day off. My husband knows too, as soon as I get home from work, I am changing into comfy clothes. I do not want to wear the clothes that I have been wearing all day. I am home. I need that transition. For my mind to be home, I have to change my clothes. And he laughs all the time because he will come home from work and sometimes he'll be home for 4 or 5 hours from work and he's still in his work clothes. And I'll ask him, do you want to change? And he'll say, no, I'm fine. I'm pretty comfortable. And okay, maybe a couple minutes later I'll ask, are you sure you don't want to change? You're not actually home unless you're in comfy clothes. Which is funny because, we grew up in comfy clothes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's all we wore. We were home. We were comfortable.
Yes.
Because, we had chores and outside stuff constantly.
Right.
So
Yes. And it was always so funny growing up, too, with my cousins that lived in the city. They woke up in the morning and they got dressed for the day.
Yeah.
And that was always so strange. We never had anywhere to go. And that's so interesting too because, they lived in the city, so they could on a whim say, "Oh, we're leaving out of the house. We're going here. Oh, come on kids, let's go." So everyone was just always ready in case that happened. We would plan when we were going into town. Yes. Yeah. Or if something spur of the moment happened, okay, let me go get dressed and then I'll head into town. But it was never, I need to be ready for the day.
Yeah.
It was just.
Yeah, our ready for the day was, let's go do chores.
Yeah. And it didn't matter what clothes you had on, but maybe you don't want to wear something nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I have to. A big thing of self-care for me is that immediate change out of the work clothes.
Physically be comfortable.
Yes. Physically transition to being home. Yeah. Even, if we are just running light errands and I'm in comfy clothes or leggings and, a sports bra, something that is comfy, coming home and taking your shoes off, putting your slippers on, maybe just throwing my robe on top,
Right.
makes me feel much more comfortable and like I am at home.
Right.
Yeah, it's that transition for me. It's like it's a positive trigger, You trigger on that you're home and you want to be comfy. And that's a big self-care thing for me. My husband always laughs when, I'm 98% of the time I'm wearing my robe in the house. And and he laughs every time.
Yeah.
But it's how I'm comfy.
Yeah. No, robes are wonderful. I
So wonderful.
walk around the house wearing my robe.
Oh yeah.
Often.
Slippers.
Gotta have slippers on.
Which is so funny because I really didn't start that. I always had slippers. You were a big slipper person.
Huge.
Always.
So I always made sure you kids had them, and y'all never really wore them.
Not like you. I mean, you were always in your slippers. Yeah. And I definitely had slippers. I would wear them outside, so I wouldn't really wear them inside.
Oh, well, right. Yes. Yeah.
Your slippers were inside shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were multi. I had so many actually. Some were just inside. Some could go inside, outside. Some were more for outside. Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
But I love that. And yeah. So going back to self-care, what are the ways that you implement self-care into your days?
Mine is my coffee, which is
always has been
very, very important for me.
It's very ceremonial.
It kind of is. I try to drink good coffee, organic. Right now, I'm really on the mushroom coffees.
Okay.
Yeah. Which has some caffeine coffee in it, but it's largely made of the mushrooms.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm mixing my adaptogens, my adaptogenic coffee, which is an herbal mushroom coffee, and then the mushroom coffee. And then sitting in my reflection, that's a almost non-negotiable. Right. Yeah. It's now, I didn't do it today.
Interesting.
Because I had to go change our whole podcast.
Oh, right.
So I was a little bit on a time crunch. And I thought, as I'm marching off to my Zen workspace, I really need to go get my feet on the ground. I really need to go because I do my reflection time outside.
Yeah.
On my outside bench, have my coffee. And I was like, I really kind of felt pulled. But I was like, I got to go get this done.
Yeah.
But I know that tonight I can go. And once I'm home, I will go sit out. Yeah. Maybe not with my coffee, but I'll go sit out and I will have my grounding reflection time.
Yeah. Good. Even though it's not being done in the morning like it traditionally is for you, you still have time in the day where you can and you will implement it.
Yes.
And that's something I get tripped up on a lot is I will set an expectation for myself that I want to do this form of self-care at this time on these days. And if it doesn't happen, it's out the window. I lost it. I can't do it.
Yep.
And that is something that I am working on. Just like you weren't able to get your reflection done this morning, but you're still excited and looking forward to doing it in the evening.
Yeah.
And if I fall short on something, whatever. Why am I even trying? Which is so silly.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really just where you allow yourself the grace. You allow yourself the flexibility. And I've really had to take myself out of expectations. This is the way I expect my day to look and my time to be. And I've had to change that and I've had to reshape that for myself. And this is where I really wanted this podcast to kind of go, is to really show that things aren't perfect in our daily lives.
Yeah.
And how it looks now is not how it used to look. And I've had to make that conscious choice that having the expectations is hard.
Yeah.
And it falls short continuously.
Mm-hmm.
And why am I doing that to myself?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I just have the flexibility and let my day move through how it needs to move through? Yes, I've got this that needs to be done. I have this that needs to be done. The dishes have been sitting in my sink for almost a week. Now it is just me and my husband.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't making huge meals. That is a little bit different there, but that drives me nuts.
Right.
Having
And
not a clean kitchen
yeah.
is not my norm.
Yeah.
But I am really softening. I am really releasing because you know what? I don't want to do the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know what? I'm not going to do the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
And my kitchen is going to look like this until I say, okay,
It's time.
now is the time to do the dishes.
Yeah.
Now is the time to clean my kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that my kitchen is disgusting. It's just that the dishes have been rinsed and somewhat clean. They're just sitting in the sink, neatly stacked.
Yeah.
They just
Stacking up.
they just haven't made their way to the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm releasing all of this expectation that it has to look the certain way from day to day or hour to hour or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because it causes more stress,
Mm-hmm.
it causes more discomfort, and where can I just be more flexible with myself?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reshaping that.
Yeah.
It's looking different for me continuously.
Yeah.
I'm realizing, where does this not have to look like this anymore?
Mm-hmm. And that was something that you and I talked about after we wrapped up recording last week, was strict expectations that I'm putting on myself, right? Because we were talking about self-care last weekend, and I was telling you how I want to get up in the morning and I just can't do it. I'm having such a hard time. I'm struggling. Why can't I do it? And you're kind of walking me through this conversation. You're holding my hand as we're going through this conversation. And you're asking me, well, what time are you trying to get up? And I would love to get up at 5 a.m. Baby wakes up at 7. I would love a few hours to sit in reflection or pull some cards for the day or meditate, whatever it is. Just sit on the couch and drink some warm water, whatever it is. To make that time for myself, I really feel like could be easily done in the morning. But I'm setting this harsh expectation, get up at 5, and it's not working. I'm failing. I keep missing the alarm. I'm snoozing the alarm. It's not working. And told you, my husband and I even started plugging our phones in on our dresser on the other side of the room. Our alarms go off. We hit snooze. We jump back in bed. Why can't I get up in the morning? And so I was really sitting with this. And you had told me, stop putting so much pressure on yourself. You need to be able to release that. And, maybe getting up in the morning just isn't for you. Maybe it is time that you need to carve out in the evening. And I agree with you, but something inside me was still saying, no, you need discipline in the morning. Because I don't know that it's necessarily that I want to get this list of things done first thing in the morning. I think it is just that act of discipline for myself that you can get up in the morning. Now I've decided it does not have to be 5 a.m.
Very good.
It can be 6:30.
Yeah.
And the baby wakes up at 7.
Right.
And so I was sitting and meditating, and I've shared with you that I've been practicing connection with higher self quite a bit recently, much more than I have in the past. And higher self shows me, I'm asking about, the morning and what can I do? What should I do? And higher self just shows me an image of my robe lying next to my bed. against all of the pillows that I take off my bed. And a light bulb just went off. And I said, okay. And I kind of sat for a moment and I visualized what my morning is going to look like immediately when I open my eyes. And we have Alexa-powered light bulbs all throughout our house. So our bedroom lamps always turn on at 6 a.m. Very dim, but they're on. So by the time our alarm goes off, our room is not pitch black. We have some light on and it helps us wake up. Now we've gotten really good at just closing our eyes a little tighter and just sleeping through the light.
Right.
But my alarm had gone off that next morning and the lamps are on. I go to get out of bed. My robe is right there. I grab my robe and I put it on. I turn off my alarm. I didn't snooze it. I hit the stop button and I immediately went into the bathroom and started brushing my teeth and just waking myself up that way. And it was so wonderful. And I did that the rest of the week. Now, I certainly was tired for a little bit, probably for the first hour that I was up.
Right.
But it got easier and easier. And I'm so proud of myself. This week was great because I was intentional about starting my morning.
Yeah.
And that's something that I get tripped up on a lot, is that I want to be intentional, but I don't always allow myself that intentionality. And the mornings are the easiest way for me to just hit snooze and want to go back to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And I just completely shove that intentionality out of the way. And so, this week I was really practicing that intentionality first thing in the morning.
You tuned in, and it was that one little thing that kind of helped make that difference, was that robe.
Yes.
That comfort, that put this on, and you still have almost like the comfort of the bed.
Exactly.
But we're just going to get moving.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
And of course, over the weekend, I'm allowing myself the freedom of not having to get up at 6:30 in the morning. I just wake up when the baby wakes me up. And so I'm getting a little extra rest over the weekend. And then I'm excited to do that again next week. And another act of self-care that I've recently picked up is making my bed, which is so funny to say.
Yeah.
I used to make my bed. I used to go all out at home growing up.
Yeah.
I always loved making my bed.
Yeah. And you were mad at your sister because she would never do that.
No.
And I remember you.
Yes.
Yeah. Being upset with her just make your bed.
Well, and my room was beautiful.
Yeah. You always had a really nice room.
You and Dad gave me a beautiful room. And I couldn't just leave my bed like that. I wanted to make it. I wanted to, make the space. Not that I always made my bed, but more often than not, it was made.
Yeah.
And, after moving out on my own, still making my bed, my space was completely my own at that point. And then started living with a man, the beds started to stop being made. And that became a habit, just not making the bed.
Right.
And an unmade bed looked ugly. And then clothes would pile up on the floor because the bed wasn't made. So why does the floor have to stay clean? It just cultivated this energy. You can just, you don't have to care for the space.
Right.
And I was scrolling on TikTok one night, just relaxing, which that's debatable whether you can relax scrolling on TikTok or not. But I started going down this rabbit hole of like bed layering. People go all out making their beds.
Crazy. Yeah.
And I kept thinking, well, I just can't do that because I don't have all of those blankets, or I don't have all of those pillows, or I don't have, I can't do that. So why even try? And then I sat for a second and I thought to myself, let me just see. Let me run around the house and see if I have things.
In your robe?
Yes, of course. In my robe and my slippers. let me just run around the house and see if I have things to make my bed look nice. And my husband was finishing up some work in the office, and he comes into our room, and I'm making the bed. And this was at, I think, like 9:30 at night. It was late. I think on like a Saturday or something. And he just stands at the doorway, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I just started laughing. I said, "Listen, I'm making the bed." And I showed him like some of the TikToks I was watching, and he goes, "Okay." He was still weirded out, but I was just about done making the bed, and he saw in the videos that they have, a blanket at the foot of the bed, and I was missing one of those. And so he runs through the house, and he found a blanket, and he said, "Hey, can you use this?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, perfect." And he put the finishing touch on there for me. It was the cutest, sweetest thing. And I've been making the bed ever since then. Mm-hmm. And it's something I genuinely am looking forward to. I haven't missed a day since I played around with it that first time. And funny enough, I had all of the things in my house to make a beautiful bed that I had wanted. I didn't, old me would say, "Oh, I've got to go to TJ Maxx and I've got to get this and this and this and a whole list and spend $130." And but no, I had everything already. And yep, I've been making my bed every single morning. And this beautiful, crisp, made bed now encourages both of us to keep things picked up off the floor. And it just keeps our room nice. And the space, walking in there at the end of the day, is refreshing because it looks beautiful.
Right.
Inviting, comfy. Yeah. And I told my husband last night, I was like, "This just feels so nice. I love this so much." And he goes, "Yeah, it is really nice."
Yeah.
And so that's becoming another form of self-care for me. And it's something I'm doing for myself at the start of my day, which they always say, start your day with a win, as easy as making your bed. And your day already subconsciously is going well. And it kind of just propels your day forward. That's the theory behind making your bed in the morning.
Okay.
But it's been really nice.
Yes, and what I really like with listening to that is that you did your reflection, just that quick reflection. At first it was like, well, I can't do that. And a lot of people would just end it there and just, I don't have that stuff, so I'm not going to make my bed. But you paused for a second and said, wait, let me really think about this.
Yep.
And then put it into action. And it was that reflection time. And reflection time, I talk about it so much with me, and it doesn't have to be this intentional, long, have your coffee, sit outside for 30 minutes, hour, whatever, and get all this wisdom or
information,
or just innate knowing or whatever the reflection does, processing. It was just that quick for you. And it was like, you know what? That's silly. I can do it like this.
Yeah.
And you put it into action. And that's all it is. It is just taking that moment, just stopping. Take that moment and ask yourself, is this really true? And then deciding from there if it is or not, and then what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's neat to see it in that way, just that it can be just kind of that easy, that quick.
Yeah. And it can be something silly or playful, like making the bed. At first I was, of course, comparing myself to what I was seeing on social media. Oh, well, I can't do that because I don't have, they have all these pillows, they have this blanket, I don't have any of that. So that comparison and that inner talk of doubt or that's silly, you couldn't do that. But then, pausing for a second and saying, wait a second.
Reflecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, there is really something to it to just reflect.
Yeah. And like I said, it's something that I'm really enjoying doing now. And at the beginning of the day, I make the bed and I get to look at it at the end and just, oh, this looks so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy. Go on about my day. At the end of the day, come into the room. Ah, this looks so beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely a hit of dopamine for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not, you know, that hit of dopamine that comes from being on your phone.
Yeah, it's not an unfulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
It's this hit of quick accomplishment, satisfaction, tangibly seeing the difference that it makes you feel. And it does it at the beginning and then again at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it brings all of that back in for you.
Yeah.
So, no, it's powerful. That was a powerful shift.
Mm-hmm.
Just that little bit of reflection.
Yeah.
It's the second time I've hit my microphone.
You're really serious about this.
Yeah. Reflections are good things.
Yeah.
Reflections can really give you just some good insight. And I do want to talk about my reflection because it was funny. It was either earlier this week or last week when I was sitting in my reflection and kind of thinking in a sense about what we're really trying to talk about today is just, not comparing yourself to how somebody looks or how what they're speaking about looks, because you don't know that in between.
Yeah.
You don't know all this other stuff that happens. And so as I'm sitting there in my reflection, I was like, I need to bring this up at some point to give people kind of a visual of my reflection time, of me sitting out there on my bench with my coffee and what that really looks like. Because most days it's a mess. I've got 2 dogs, I've got a cat, and my dogs will, in the morning, they'll run off and go explore the property and the mother-in-law's and sister-in-law's property, because we're not all fenced in. And so then they'll come back, and one will come back first, and he will come back so happy and breathing in my face. And then my other one will come back so happy, breathing in my face, slobbering on my clothes, my arm, my hands. And I'm trying to drink my coffee, and I'm trying to keep them from drooling all over me and spilling my coffee. And then I've got ants, crawling around my feet, and bugs that are these big bugs. I don't know what they are, but they just come whizzing by and will bounce off the house that's behind me. It's oh
my God.
So
just a little bit of chaos.
It is a little bit of chaos. And I also have started to, my back door, it's a glass and screen door, but I'll leave that not latched. And so the dogs can just let themselves in and out as they want while I'm sitting there. They can go in, get a drink of water, they can push the door and then come back out. And the door just kind of, will gently go back to the almost close position. But sometimes my larger dog, Zeus, will come running back out and fling that door open, and it'll just get stuck open. So I've got to get up off the bench, walk over, close the door. And it's just,
it's not
it's
not the most peaceful time.
It's not. It is not this beautiful Zen time that I can just be in a light meditation and reflecting and
la-di-da.
It's not that.
No.
Yeah,
well, I sit in my reflection space when I pull cards. And I always think my husband's coming into the room. And I always have to check behind me, or I swear I hear the door open and I look behind me. And there's never anyone there.
Yeah.
And the few times, maybe 3 times that he has come into the room while I'm pulling cards, I didn't even hear him.
Oh.
So if he does come in, I don't believe I will hear anything.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes he'll come in and walk around and then come into my sight, and I'll jump and I'll say, "Oh my gosh, you scared me!" Because I have headphones and I have my my music on, my meditation
Okay.
music.
That makes sense. I
Yes.
didn't know the whole
Yes.
picture of that. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. So the few times that he has come in, I haven't known that he was in the room.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why I'm subconsciously scared, like, is he coming in?
Right.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, my dog will lay at the desk right next to me, and the kitty will usually be in here somewhere, and sometimes they'll just start duking it out in the middle of the room, and they're fighting, and the cat's jumping and bouncing off of the wall, and I'm like, guys, can you relax for a second? And no, they're doing their own thing in here.
That's right.
They're like, you closed us in here, ma'am, so what do you expect me to do? It's not the most relaxing. Although it's so funny because I do imagine you. I guess I imagine your reflection more often in the Zen room, in your comfy chair, looking out the window and pondering on life with your coffee, and the dogs are just elegantly laying on the ground
by my feet,
guarding and protecting your space.
Yeah. No.
Also knowing those dogs, it couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yes. Chewing on their leg, scratching,
breathing in your face.
Breathing in my face is a huge one.
Yeah,
yes.
That's so funny.
Yes. Yeah. And as soon as I turn one away, then the other one comes up, and it's like, oh, it's my turn. I get to breathe in her face now.
That's an invitation. The area's clear.
Yes.
It's my space to fill.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's very comical because it is not this perfect, serene thing.
Yeah.
It is life.
Yeah.
And
it is real.
And I am sitting among all of this daily life, the animals and the creatures and the outside bees and bugs and ants and all of that.
Yeah.
And
the bees and bugs.
And that's my reflection time.
Yeah.
On occasion, yes, I will get a little hot sitting outside, and halfway through I will move inside to my Zen room and sit there. But again, the dogs have followed me.
Right.
And
then the birds
we
are
start
inside.
all over. Yes, and the birds are inside, and so
oh man,
it's just part of it. And so I really want to everybody just relax about expectations and the way something looks, and comparing yourself to how you think the picture looks for this other person, because I can guarantee you that's not how it looks.
Or how you think the picture should look for yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's
more than likely.
Yeah. That's what I get tripped up on is, oh, it has to look like this. Just that rigidity. And I am not someone that responds well to that.
Right.
It was so funny yesterday. My sister was over at the house, and we were talking about something, making plans possibly for next weekend. And she goes, let me look. And she's scrolling through her calendar. And I was like, you use a calendar? And she goes, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's showing me everything on her calendar. And she's like, look at this month. This month was crazy. And this month is much more calm. I was taken aback, to say the least. I did not know my little sister uses a calendar as much as she does.
Oh, yeah. She has for years.
Yeah. And I was stunned. And I said, wow, sis, you just inspired me. I have a calendar. I try to use my calendar in the way that my husband uses his calendar. And it does not work well for me.
Right.
And so the alternative for me is just to not use a calendar. And that's the wrong approach to that. Yeah. And, I'm either all in or I'm all out. And that is a behavior or a pattern that I'm trying to work myself out of.
Yeah.
And so, I have my calendar set up. It's made, and it has wake up at this time, eat at this time, do your makeup at this time, leave for work at this time, you're at work for these hours, when you come home, do this, this, and this.
Oh, wow.
And of course, knowing this about myself, I don't do well with that.
Yeah. No.
So why do I continue to set myself up for this is how your day looks, and me wanting to just break all the rules and push all that aside and say, yeah, well, I'm not going to do that today. Why do I do that to myself? And so last night, I sat down with my calendar and I wiped it clean. And I just put in, I just started using it for what a calendar is for. And I put in the solid things that need to be there.
Yeah.
And then the one-off events or the things, you're going on lots of trips soon. So I got that into my calendar so that I can stop. Oh, I think it was this day. Oh, I think it was that day. I put it on my calendar. Nice. This is so silly. This is what a calendar is for.
Right. It's not to fill your time.
Right.
It's just to remember what's been planned.
Yeah.
Keep yourself organized, not stuff it.
And it took my little sister accidentally showing me.
That's perfect.
And it was such an inspiration for me.
Yeah.
And it inspired me, and it convinced me in the right way that this is how I can use.
Yeah, and not even the right way. The way for you. Right. And as we know from the podcast or the brand To Be Magnetic, she was an expander for you in that moment, in that thing.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, she just expanded you.
And I think I said that to her. I think I said, yeah, you're an expander for me in this. I was doing my nails at the time. And yeah, she did. She just totally helped me understand she was an expander for me.
Yeah. And, you were trying to put yourself in your husband's calendar role, how he uses it.
His way of thinking, which and he's a man.
It did not. Well, but even still, whether he was, female or not, that just didn't align with you.
Yeah. And
so why try to put yourself in the way that he's using it?
Yeah.
It's, this is where we all just need to be individual.
Right.
And see, okay, they do it that way. Interesting. Would that work for me? Nope, I don't think so. Too rigid. I push against that.
Yeah.
And then reflect on, what makes sense to you.
Yeah. Yeah, because I certainly want to be someone that utilizes their calendar or, doesn't miss or doesn't forget something because it's on the calendar and it's easy to see and it's easy to digest and it's easy to remember. And yeah, she absolutely inspired me to do that.
Well, very good. And I'm glad that you found it, how it applies to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're not trying to fit into how she's doing it. You just realized this is a good tool. I'm just going to mold it to how I want to use it.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think next on the list for self-care is utilizing my calendar.
Nice. My self-care is that I do not schedule.
Interesting.
And I don't know why that's so funny.
Probably because yesterday I texted you. I said, hey, Mama, can we plan for tomorrow?
Yes.
When you'll come and we can record the podcast? And she goes, why? What do you have going on?
It wasn't quite like that. It was a little more loving, everybody.
It definitely was. She's like, what you got going on tomorrow?
Because I was going to put myself around whatever you got going on.
That is too funny.
Because
it stresses you out.
That's how we lived our lives. We were so, and that's funny. I was thinking about that this morning, that we were so scheduled to the hour.
Yeah.
I mean, I had everything planned out from our days, our weeks, our months.
Yeah.
And schedules were huge. And then I've recently, since I've really been trying to just figure out my stress levels.
Right.
Really, that's where this is coming about, because I have lived my life high stress. And so much of it was self-induced, just me not knowing how to live properly. I mean, if you really look at it, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't regulate my emotions. I didn't regulate my sleep. I didn't regulate my eating. I didn't regulate anything.
Right.
I was in survival. I was just living
100% of the time.
And I just lived for everybody else.
Yeah.
So recently, the past couple years after, I've really started making these changes, understanding at the scope of how I was living.
Yeah.
And so scheduling was huge, and it just causes a bit of stress.
Yeah.
And what it does, what I've realized in a lot of reflection, what it does is it just keeps me in the future. And it takes me out of being present.
Right.
And that's stressful.
Yeah.
And so the more I learn at how being present just changes so much. Yeah. I really try not to do too much planning, other than I've got the trips I've got to go on.
Right.
But it's all just almost even in a way last minute. It's not, I don't know. It's a little strange with all of that, but I'm really just figuring it out, and scheduling is not anymore.
That's so funny. But I mean, growing up, we were so busy. We had so much going on that, you did have to keep the household on a schedule. You did.
And being in the country, we had a lot of travel time. So I did have to be very structured in when we had to be ready and leave, and where we're leaving with horses, and so all of that stuff. But
yeah, and you're the one that makes the schedule, so then you have to bring everybody in. Hey, we're doing this. We have to leave at this time. You have to load the horses at this time. I mean, whatever it was. Yeah, you had to. Yeah. And so now you're in such a beautiful and unique time in your life where you get to just release all of that and be present, which is so wonderful.
It is. And I really reflect back on when I was, a young mom, bringing you kids up. Could I have done it differently? And if I could, where, would that have been? But honestly, just regulating myself would have changed so much for me, and then the family as well.
Yeah, and that's something that I think about too. Obviously just saying I'm not someone that thrives off of a rigid schedule. I am lucky to go into an office 3 days a week, and the other days of the week I'm at home. And so Monday and Thursday really are my days where I have like two big things each of those days, and they always get done. They always will get done. But the rest of the day can look however it wants to. And that is so freeing for me. I do get to live those days in the present moment. What do I feel like eating today? Do I want to eat at this time that I normally do when my day is more structured, or do I want to have a little more of a, relaxed morning? And it is so great for me. During the week, I'm able to have those days. So I'm not just go, go, go every single day to the point where I'm just burnt out over the weekend and don't want to get anything done. I really cherish my Mondays at home with my baby and my Thursdays at home with my baby. They are my two favorite days of the week. And then it's fun to say too, my favorite day of the week is Monday, because everyone else will tell you they hate Mondays. And I love them. I can't wait for Monday.
Yeah.
I love my Mondays.
Yeah, I like my Mondays too. I'm thinking about it now. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and same for me. I have my Mondays and Thursdays where I
Mm-hmm.
get to be home. I'm in my creative space doing my thing.
Yeah.
Wednesday, Fridays, I'm here
Mm-hmm.
watching the baby for you to go off to your work. And
Mm-hmm.
then my Tuesdays, I'm at the husband's work and our business and doing office work and
Yeah.
bookkeeping and all of that for that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I love my Mondays too because
Yeah.
that's my creative day.
Mm-hmm.
I get to spend that on me and what I'm enjoying.
Yeah, exactly. You get to have that chaotic reflection time.
Yes, I do. All day with
However long you want it to
all
be.
day with the dogs.
That's so great.
Yeah. No,
That's so fun.
I've got things scheduled in there, my morning
Mm-hmm.
meeting and then my afternoon meeting but yeah, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I love that. And you were sharing with me, I don't think on an episode, but you don't wake up to an alarm
Mm-mm.
anymore.
Nope.
You allow yourself, which again is such a, I love that for you. It's such a
Yes.
beautiful time and space, and the life that you and dad have built, you're able to do that. And that's so wonderful.
But I realized that that was a huge stressor for me.
Absolutely.
I've well, gosh, I don't even know where to start there, so I
Mm-hmm.
won't. But what I do is at night, as I'm going to sleep, I try to kind of program myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell myself, okay, I want to be waking up at 7. I need to be woken up by 7:30,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm telling myself this as I'm going to sleep.
Mm.
I want to wake up at 7 o'clock. I want to wake up at 7 o'clock. I want to make sure I'm out of bed by 7:30. That would be the latest.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of give myself that window. If I wake up at
Yeah.
7:15, I'm still good.
Mm-hmm.
And I do.
Wow.
My body will wake up
Mm.
when I've programmed it as I'm going to sleep.
Wow. That's so fun.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be a beautiful world if we didn't have to wake up to our alarms every morning?
Yes.
And I mean, there's countries out there that don't start their days with
Right.
alarm clocks.
Yeah. Yeah. Their days don't start early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is so beautiful. But
Yeah.
it's very, very different here in America.
It is, and not that it necessarily has to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, gosh, if you can change that in your life, change it.
Yeah.
Do it.
But what's interesting is that is perceived as a way of being productive.
Yeah.
Is waking up at 5 a.m. The alarm goes off, get up.
Yeah.
That is the cultural understanding of someone that's productive is someone that gets up in the morning.
Yeah.
But
No, I have to understand my body.
yeah,
And I don't go to bed late.
right.
I love to be in bed between 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean going to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think, do I? But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to
Yeah,
watch TV.
right.
My husband will lay there and watch TV, but by 10:30 at the latest, I feel like 10:30 is late
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not closing my eyes
Yeah.
and going to sleep. So, and 5 o'clock is not where I want to be getting up. Really between 7, 8 feels good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just about 12 hours of sleep is what my body needs. And I've
Yeah.
just had to really tune in and just be okay with that. This
Mm-hmm.
is how it looks for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care
And
what the books say. I don't care what any information says.
mm-hmm.
You need to be up by 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Or you only need 7 or 8 hours of sleep.
My body does not thrive on that at this point in life.
Right.
5 years down the road, maybe that's going to change.
Well, and that is so different because I mean, yeah, you just like you explained, you've lived majority of your life in this stressful,
Survival
dysregulated
mode.
survival mode. And your body now is at a place where it can relax and it needs that amount of time to recover. And I mean, even though, your mental shift now compared to then is so different,
Yeah.
your body's still catching up
It is.
and it is needing that sleep.
Yes. And I have to just tune in to what my body is saying and just be okay with that. And it's going to look totally different from the way it was, the way that it may be, the way books and programs or whatever is saying it should be. Nope, I'm tuning into me, and this is how it needs to look for me. This feels good, it's supportive, and it takes me listening and deciding, you know what, I'm choosing me, I'm going to make these changes, and doing it.
And, saying that, I want to make sure everyone understands that this is different for everyone.
Yes.
And you have realized that what, is typically understood, getting up in the morning, having a rigid schedule, it just doesn't work for you. Okay, so now you're going to go find and explore what feels right and what does work for you. But then there are and always will be those people that thrive at getting up at 5 a.m. I mean, your sister, I remember she used to always tell me, I can't wait to get up in the morning. My alarm goes off at 4:30 and I'm ready to get out of bed. I don't want to stay in bed. And that's wonderful for her.
Yep.
And she loves to do that. She thrives off of waking up early in the morning.
Yeah.
And so this can look so different for everyone.
Yes.
And, something that you and I have talked about a lot for me is that I pick, okay, this sounds good. Okay, this looks like it would be good. And then it just doesn't fit at all what I've got going on. Why did I pick that? Why did I choose that? Why did I decide, oh, I want to be like this or act like this? That's not me sitting with myself and figuring out authentically what works for me, what works for my body, what works for my sleep patterns. It's me trying to conform myself into this idea that I believe looks and sounds great. And that is directly conflicting with the nature of my being.
Yeah.
And I'm not fully allowing myself to be her.
Yeah.
And so that's something that, I'm having to practice.
I just noticed you got your slippers on.
I do. And you have your fuzzy socks on. You've always been the fuzzy sock queen.
Always.
Always.
That's what I ask for Christmas every year. Fuzzy socks.
Yeah, and I still have some fuzzy socks from my childhood. And do I wear them? No, but they signify where I came from and the woman that I came from.
Yep.
Fuzzy socks.
Comfort on the feet. That's what it is.
Yeah. Comfort on the feet. Yep. Coffee and fuzzy socks.
And back to what we were talking about, that goes with me and dinner time in the evening. Now that everybody's out of the house, I don't have to make dinners. That was never enjoyable for me. I just don't like necessarily cooking in the kitchen. Every once in a while I'll get an inspiration and feel like it, and I do for a little bit, but most of the time I just don't.
Yeah.
I want something quick. I want nourishing stuff, but yet, yes, sometimes I want that quick carby meal or whatever. And so, there was just always, once we were new empty nesters, kind of this stress of, oh, well, I've got to cook dinner for your dad when he's coming home, but I don't want dinner. And I had a big lunch. That's typically kind of what I do is I'll eat a large lunch, and then I'm not super hungry at night. Just laughing at me today.
Sorry, I wanted to say an inside joke, but I don't think we should.
Oh.
But yeah, you'll typically eat a large lunch, and then by the time the end of the day comes, you don't want to make a big dinner.
I don't want to cook, and I don't want to eat a large meal again. Yeah. And so I've really just had to reflect to myself, I don't want to do this. And so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't cook dinners for us. On occasion, we'll kind of plan, okay, tomorrow night, hey, let's do this. And sometimes we follow through and sometimes we don't.
Right.
And it's just listening to what resonates.
Yeah.
And stop pushing and making things have to look this way.
Yes.
I don't have to eat dinner at night.
Yeah.
And if he wants to eat dinner,
Mm-hmm.
well, then he can make himself some dinner. I have to come to terms with that
Yeah.
is okay.
Yeah.
Where there was a time where I would feel so guilty that I wasn't doing my duty. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't doing something that I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And not that he ever told me that I had to do this.
Right.
This was all me and societal stigma that you have to do this
Mm-hmm.
in the evening time.
Yeah.
And it just never
sat right.
it just didn't.
Yeah.
And so, these are things that I'm just tuning into and deciding, do I want to continue to do this?
Yeah. That's so funny. I mean, quite a while ago, my husband started 75 Hard. He's almost done. So quite a while ago, like 70 days ago.
Right.
And he chose the keto diet for the challenge. And I remember telling you, yeah, now I feel like I have to get up in the morning and I have to make this meal and I have to prep this for his lunch and I have to do da 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 da.
Yeah.
And I just remember you standing there saying, you don't have to do that. This was his choice. You don't have to do that. And I remember thinking, you're right. I don't. Why was I setting myself? Because again, he's never told me that I have to be in the kitchen in the morning and make him breakfast before he goes to work. Mm-hmm. Now, is that a nice, sweet thing I can do for him? Absolutely.
Right. And we talked about it at that time too.
Yes.
Because it was almost this, not resentment, but this,
it was like, I have to.
Yes, the have to.
Yes.
And it was, but you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to get up and go do it,
right,
that's beautiful and that's lovely, and I'm sure he appreciates it.
Yeah.
But
right. Yeah. And it was just that, maybe that was subconscious programming from you that I picked up that I'm just realizing
Could
now.
be.
Yeah. But yeah, and that was very freeing for me.
Right.
And he found his way, I'm not necessarily able to or have the time to make him breakfast in the morning, but he has found what works for him, and he makes breakfast sausage every morning. He just throws it in the pan and it takes a while to cook, but it's good to pretty much walk away from. Mm-hmm. And he told me the other day, he said, I really enjoy making sausage in the morning. And so it is this nice, like, okay, I'm not the person that has to do this. Right. But initially I put that on myself.
Right. And that's a really neat thing because you had a learning experience in that. And I'm sure he's had some growth and learning in that too.
Yeah.
On what's enjoyable for him, or does he need to do this for himself, or however that looked for him. And so that's neat that both of you got something out of that. But again, it's this expectation of how you thought this needed to look, that you were trying to stuff yourself into that, and it just didn't feel good.
Yeah. It just didn't feel right at all.
And it created this extra little angst.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we can tune into these kind of things, that we're setting these expectations or we're setting these pictures for ourselves or somebody else, that if we can start tuning in and seeing what it's creating, and it doesn't have to be there.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And again, the easiest way to find that is through reflection.
It is. It's stopping for a moment and pausing, and is this the way it needs to be?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't hug it out with you at that time. I just said,
you don't have
to do that.
And I said, you're right. And yeah, that was what I needed to hear in that moment. Because even leaving that situation, I was like, why was I putting that on myself? Again, he's not asked me or said I have to do this.
And even if he did, then that would still have to be a reflection that you would have to sit with and say, okay, this is an expectation put on me. Doesn't feel right.
Right.
Now, how do I need to navigate that?
And
what kind of conversation do we need to have?
Yeah.
So, it can look a multitude of ways.
Anything else to add to the self-care?
That was pretty long.
It was.
Do it.
Yeah, guys.
Self-love, self-care, it's important.
It is.
And I guess really the reflection on what we've been talking about is to tune in.
The balance to today.
See what you need.
And tuning in, describe what tuning in is.
For me, it might look different for you, but for me, it's how does it feel? How does that decision or that expectation or that thought, how does that feel? And if it feels stressful, or if it feels restricting, or does it feel expanding? To me, that's tuning in. That's understanding what my true self wants, not my thinking brain. And really that's where a lot of this would come from, is my thinking brain. Now, either I'm thinking about what somebody else is doing or said that I'm now taking on as a belief, or implementing that, oh, now I have to do this.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, my true self, what really resonates with me, that either feels true and expanding and loving and kind and all the positive things, or is it restricting and not creative, putting me in a box? Or to me, that's tuning in.
Tuning in for me is getting curious, asking questions about yourself or about a situation that you're confused about. It's treating yourself like that friend that you can so easily give advice to. It's
I not to interrupt you,
No,
but you really brought up I don't know, I think something important that we could talk about here before we totally close this, and this may, really bring another, this is what we do.
Yes, it is.
I mean, we just go
I was going to
on
say
and on.
that today's conversation is just, you and I standing in the kitchen on Friday. This is how it goes.
Yes, and Abigail saying,
I gotta go.
and I'm continuing and saying, okay, do you really have to leave now?
Or she says, okay, really quick. It's never really quick.
No.
But it is just, we just bounce ideas off of each other, and then it leads to this. And then, oh yeah, actually yesterday, last week, I forgot to tell you.
Yeah.
And even though we see each other 3 times a week, majority of the weeks, we still forget.
Just talk for hours.
Oh, I didn't tell you about this. I got to tell you about this.
Yeah. So, in what you were just saying, which I forget really what you said, but it reminded me, being curious and asking yourself, and what would a friend say? Is, when I get frustrated with my husband, I do that. I stand there and I say, okay, if I flip-flop it in a couple different directions, I'll say, okay, if this was me saying or behaving how he is, how would I want him to respond to me?
Right.
And I look at it from that lens and I say, okay, yes, that's how I would want him to respond to me. Okay, now that's how I'm going to have to respond to him. Not this reactive lash out or whatever. And not that I do that anymore.
Right.
I really do a lot of reflecting and a lot of contemplating.
Yeah.
And I'm not in that reactive mode.
Like
rarely.
Before. Yeah.
So I'll do it that way. Or I will say, okay, if somebody else approached me with this, how would I what advice would I give? How would I look at this? How would I comment to this or whatever? I really just put it in all these different shoes and get all these different perspectives on not only why or how to respond to him, but now what's my responsibility in this? Why am I feeling this way, or how did I be a part of this? I just look at it from all different angles and then come to it with a solution from all of that.
And I was going to say that too. I do that also. I put myself in the other person's shoes a lot. And it's honestly a practice that I've fallen out of more so recently. But I do find that, yes, when a disagreement is happening between me and my husband, I get stuck in well, I would not treat you that way. So why am I being treated this way? This is where my frame of thinking goes. Is that I guess I'm hurt because I wouldn't do that to you. Or I wouldn't say that to you. And because, yeah, I mean, you hope that your partner or your friend or your sibling or whoever would treat you like you would treat them. I always think like the way you treat people, of course, gives them the example of how you wish to be treated. So the people that are closest to you, you would hope that they understand that depth about you, right? And yeah, I've really always been someone that wants to put myself in the other person's shoes, because I think I have a belief that in every single argument, both people are correct.
Oh, right.
I don't ever believe that an argument is one-sided. And that's difficult to communicate to people. That I believe that there are valid sides and points and feelings and beliefs in every single situation.
Absolutely.
And my goal is to always have those be heard. I hear you, you hear me. And not even that it has to be, a fight with a spouse or a disagreement with a coworker, just in anything. I think there's, the common phrase, two sides to every story. That is very true.
Yeah.
There are two sides to every single story. One is not right and one is not wrong.
Right.
We're all living in our own truth. And I mean, sometimes our truth can get clouded.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from your experience.
It's so important to look at it from all different perspectives. And in the moment, yes, it can be very, very hard. But that's where you have to stop. And you just have to not be in that reactive mode and just either take a moment and everybody go off and think and
center,
come back in a more neutral place, or you just hold yourself in that neutral place. And it takes work, but I mean, honestly, that's where I can have most of my conversations with my husband now is in that very neutral place. And then I go back after the conversation and think, okay, well, why did that really, because it whatever it is, made me mad or hurt my feelings or whatever, I can go back and really look at that. But in the moment, I'm not reactive.
Right.
I'm like, okay. And then we just kind of discuss whatever it is at that point.
Right. Because then you're able to, process through it differently. You're not stuck in because our emotions will absolutely take over.
No, it's
hard to navigate our emotions when they're in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And so, Yeah, I mean, that certainly is a practice, communicating from a neutral space, because things will always be said. Especially if your partner or the person you're speaking to is not communicating to you from a neutral space. Who knows what could be said, whether it was meant or not. And if you can maintain that neutral space, it allows you a little bit more freedom to really see what happened during the conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But not override any feelings that you have,
Right.
just
You still
in the
allow
moment.
yourself.
Yes, just not in that very moment. You just work yourself through it, and then on the back end, then you really go through and process. And if you need to reapproach the person and say, look, that conversation that we had, it really kind of hurt me because of this. Now you've got the reflective piece to where you maybe understand it a little bit more, to where you might need to address it with that person, or you don't. You can totally process it with yourself and understand why you felt like it or felt that. It goes back to what we spoke to at the beginning. This person just triggered it. Had nothing to do really with them.
Yeah.
They just triggered something in you from some other experience.
Yeah. Did you know that this is another 2-hour podcast?
Oh, wow. Well, I really wouldn't expect anything different, because this is what we do.
This is what we do. This is why we decided to start a podcast together.
It is. For these very conversations, just this meandering of
ideas and thoughts and feelings.
And we do this at the beginning of our podcast. We sit and we talk and we kind of catch up on a day or two.
Even though I just saw you 2 days ago.
Yeah. And then we'll also just touch on little pieces that we need to discuss about, maybe our outline or whatever. And we'll start getting into stuff and we'll be like, that's podcast material.
Yeah.
We got to stop.
We need to hold off.
Yeah. Keep that. Let's hit play.
Yeah.
Or hit record. Yeah. It's fun.
It is very fun.
There's a lot of insight. There's a lot of wisdom. And just what we keep going back to with this episode is that it's just all within us. If we just tune in, we just reflect. We don't compare. We don't set expectations. And I'm not saying we don't. I'm saying this is the collective that we should, live more freely and authentically and innately. And
the word that pops into my head very often when talking about this is allow. Allow yourself to not do the dishes for a few days. Allow yourself to not wake up right when the alarm goes off. Allow yourself these moments of flexibility.
I just got to put in here real quick. Or allow yourself to discover what's going to help in that picture that you have in your head.
Yeah. Yes, because like me I do have a strong want to get up in the morning, to have a little carving of time out for myself. I have a very, and I believe, authentic desire to do that. I'm having a hard time executing that. And it's because I was placing the expectation of 5 a.m. alarm goes off, you better be ready.
It's got to look perfect.
It's got to look perfect, which also means the day prior, you have to go to sleep early. You have to prepare before your day even starts. And so even the next day, if all those things aren't perfect and don't happen right, okay, tomorrow's not going to go well.
Yeah.
And just setting myself up for failure in a way.
Yeah.
So allowing the knowing and understanding that that is not how my morning has to look is okay. Now, what feels right and what feels authentic to me to get that time and space in the morning that I do truly want.
But you had to sit with yourself. You had to give yourself that little bit of moment to have that clarity.
Exactly.
And I mean, I know we've tried to stress it throughout this whole podcast, is just that little moment of reflection, of questioning, of curiosity, of just digging for what is the answer.
And you know what that is? That moment of reflection is the moment in between.
It is.
It is. It's that
Wow.
moment in between where you grab a little piece of clarity.
That's so funny. It is. It's that little in between of all that messiness of what somebody can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they compare to all of this other stuff that they can see.
Yeah.
But yeah. Wow.
I love that.
All the little nuggets in here.
Yeah.
Really neat. So I hope this just really gives, some more perspective,
some insight,
and just live life.
Yeah.
Nothing is perfect.
Nothing has to be so serious. I think we put such seriousness on what time the alarm clock goes off.
On what the day needs to look like, on what we need to accomplish. Just release it. What would happen if you just released it all and just lived in your day almost moment by moment?
Yeah.
I mean,
much as you can.
Yeah, knowing that you've got stuff to do or accomplish or work or, a bit of a timeline, but release all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
Just let it go and just live.
Mm-hmm.
What would that look like? What sense of maybe peace and flexibility, and what are the fun little things that could creep in and surprise you if you're not stuck to a rigid schedule?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I've been surprising myself. I've been, there's those few moments here and there that just stick out in my brain, those little in-between moments that actually are making an impact and, pulling me closer and closer to that sense of, oh, this is what I've been searching for. This is what I've been wanting.
Yeah.
And it looks completely different than how I logically crafted it up to be.
Yeah. It's bringing up almost like just taking that breath.
Yeah.
Just breathing in and breathing out. Just that little reset.
Yeah.
Just that in between breath.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Brings a little bit of clarity. Wow.
Well,
I hope everybody enjoyed this kind of
impromptu
conversation.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah. This was fun.
It was. It really was. But it is still a nitty gritty to balance episode because we did pull a card at the beginning of this episode and we've let it just sit in with our conversation. And today we pulled from our Flora Healing deck. This is a mini deck and it's honestly one of my favorites because it's so cute. Ah, my goodness. Today we pulled the Iris card, which symbolizes the heart. The iris was named after the Greek goddess Iris. She was said to deliver messages to and from the heavens and earth. Like Iris, adept at speaking for many, we must listen to each thoughtful musing and expression of our heart. They are as colorful and varied as this flower. You are the origin and the messenger of your story. It is your responsibility to decipher your truth. What tales of woe and restriction do you hold on to? How might you feel if you released the stories that do not belong to you? Is that not incredible?
Wow. Always.
And
the
it,
heart.
And it all comes back to your heart. What lies within your heart? The messages, the guidance that you're looking for is not in your head, which is where we automatically go.
Where we live.
The guidance is in your heart.
Yeah.
Your love for cultivating your space.
For you.
Your self-love.
Yep. Self-love, self-care, the self.
The heart of you. Mend to and talk to the heart of you.
Oh.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Very nice.
I'm always shocked, but I don't know why. Why am I always shocked?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. The iris, the heart. I love the last portion. It is your responsibility to decipher your truth.
Yeah, and you're the origin and what was that?
You are the origin and the messenger of your story.
Messenger of your story, yeah.
It is your responsibility to decipher your truth. Yeah. What tales of woe and restriction do you hold on to? And how might you feel if you released the stories that do not belong to you?
Yeah. It all begins and ends with you.
That's beautiful.
It's not outsourcing. It's not somebody else. It's not waiting for somebody else to
tell you or show you
or
how
fix
to do
it
or how to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow the heart. No. All right. Well,
this was a lovely episode, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with us. And until next time, be balanced.
And be well.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening. This episode is for educational purposes only. The information is not intended to give medical advice or therapy. Please consult with a licensed healthcare provider before making any changes to your health regimen. Also know that you are responsible for your life choices and circumstances. Until next time,
be well
and be balanced. Bye.
Bye.